Morning, Joe.
So, John, right?
Right.
Pleasure to meet you.
And you?
And thank you for doing this.
My great pleasure.
What would be the first episode of the Olde Engine Works podcast?
I'm excited.
We should probably get, what's your full name?
John Rose.
John Rose.
Mm-hmm.
And the big question would be, how do you see yourself? How do you even refer to yourself? Are you a picker?
I'm a carpenter.
You're a carpenter.
And I was a single dad, so obviously, like everybody else in the Poconos, I built additions, I built houses,
Right.
Lots of decks, while the kids were little, but...
The old how to survive in the Poconos.
Right.
Yeah.
My father and grandfather were both contractors, so as a young boy I started in this. Woodworking has always been my first love. Now that my boys are gainfully employed in 20-somethings, I'm back to what I love, and I've decided to go in a direction where it's more creative than just the standard technical skills.
Yeah.
What I do with this stuff is I start out with a plan and never stick to it completely.
So really, we should back up. Specifically, I think the focus with you, or what makes you a little bit different from the other booths here at the Engine Works, is that you're not just a preserver of history, you're not just a finder of things, although you do a bit of that too, right?
Well, I incorporate other things. The finding the old things, that's Karen and her husband. Those are my partners. What I do is, one of the reasons I went into business with them, is this frees me up to be in the shop. Karen's husband is a tech guy. Yep. He does the online stuff. Karen's got 35 years experience in retail, and now it gives me the chance to create.
And you come as a craftsman, as an artist,
right?
And you're sort of building with salvaged materials or things.
Salvaged material, new material. It doesn't matter to me. It all depends on how it speaks to me. In fact, if you wanted to take a little shot of what's in the back of my truck right now, there's a pile of lumber that's up to the top of my seat that I just picked up at an auction the other night.
And so
I'm constantly in search.
That was the next question. Is this while on the job you tend to notice things, or is it just you just do this all the time?
This is just my life.
Just your life.
Yeah.
That's always seems to be the case. I wonder how people get to where they are. Like, there's something behind why and how you do this. You just see things all the time. You're always looking.
It's a passion to me.
Yeah.
I basically build and I swim, and that's what I do.
How do you if you're working construction during the day?
I don't do that anymore.
Okay. So
I do a little property management. I'm 60 now. I just turned 60 the other day, and this is what I do.
So I was going to say, how do you find the passion? I've known plenty of interesting people in my life that they don't want to bring the day job home.
I put the other stuff aside.
Yeah.
I didn't bring the day job at home. I was a construction boss, and I was raising 2 small boys. So the construction boss, there's a certain amount of puffing your chest out, and that's in that world it's very masculine.
Yeah.
I made a point of turning that off to be gentle with my children when I get home, and that's really who I am basically anyway.
I find the same thing. I'm a father too, and sort of being a father brought me back to art and a creative life, and sort of like ways that are, again, you're not being just male all the time. You're not,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I was raising 2 boys, and being on a construction site, spend a little time in the gym, and the toilet seat was never down.
Right.
But this is really who I am, and now I'm expressing that. Well, I've cast everything else aside, and I'm putting all my chips in making this work.
Cool. So when you see something that interests you, or what is it that pops out? Is it something in the wood?
It's something in everything. See the corbels I put on this?
Yeah.
I bought these at a flea market a year ago, and hung them on the wall until I came up with the right project for them.
Right. So, I do that too. So you found these and you put them aside.
I hung them on the wall so I could see them every day.
At some point, it will work with something.
Absolutely.
Right. Talking about these. That's interesting. So then, at some point, how do you decide what it's going to become? Does it become an end table? Does it become a bar? At what point do you see what the full final thing is going to be?
Completely depends. Like I said, I kept these corbels for about a year. I went down to a sawmill in Bucks County to order a tree of cherry, just of new wood,
right,
cut up so I could build. I found this. This had been in a fire. This piece of maple. This, for some reason, said to me that it would go great with the corbels.
Yep.
That's a 100-year-old farmhouse door that I cut down to make the front. The frame for this, I made out of old scaffolding planking.
Yep. Oh,
and
wow.
I did the burning with the 2000 volt transformer.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And that's why I recessed it, so that I'd have room for the corbels and a little footrest.
And you get that design yourself, or was that or did you just burn?
I design everything myself. This maple coffee table? Yeah, absolutely.
Let's pull this in. We'll take a look at this too. Yeah, I really like this.
But again, with this, you were asking about the splitting. I let this dry till it did split.
Yep.
And it wasn't going to split anymore. And then did the fill, and this is burned again with the transformer.
And then, again, this is completely sealed, something you sanded down.
That's got 10 coats. It's a grinder to shape it.
Yep.
First I use a grinder for steel. Then I sand, then I sand, then I sand, then I sand. And that's, with maple, I actually leave the first 2 coats of polyurethane a little bit wet before I go on with the dry and let them dry completely.
Yep.
Because it gives a depth here. This has actually got 10 coats on it.
Cool.
This has 8 because this is a different type of material.
Right. So again, I mean, the fact that this was in a fire
excited me.
It excites you, but you get like none of that. It doesn't smell like it was in a fire.
No, well, I ground all of that out.
Yeah, yeah.
And I purposely left a little bit here.
Yep.
And a little bit here just to accentuate it.
Yep.
And I love the fact that I took off so much. If you look at the ends of it, you'll be able to see it goes from the thickness down to the thin. I just love the shape of it.
I love that. That's awesome. And this was an add-on. You basically just truncated it like this to kind of put it...
Well, no. This is what inspired me to build this.
Okay.
Having the top.
Yep.
And that's what decides the size for the base, the length of the slab I have, the width of the slab.
Have you done a lot of these?
Bars? Oh,
yeah.
Many. People buy bars, I build bars.
I would imagine, yeah, the bars are popular. I would imagine the bars, the end tables maybe.
You'll find some pictures in here of, like this piece, I made this a kitchen island, and the reason for the shape is, that's why I rounded off this end, was to match the shape of this piece of wood that I had.
Got it.
And
so that's the thing.
This is restored cherry flooring.
The wood speaks in a way that sort of tells you what it
all speaks to me. The metal, the wood, even the type of wheels that I use.
So this is not. So now that you're finding a lot of this stuff, you find the wood. The metal speaks to you. Who knows what it might be? I mean, you're not on a job site anymore.
Right.
So what's the process like being out there looking?
I'm constantly looking around. Well, my friends know that I'm looking around. I get phone calls. I climb in people's dumpsters.
People are texting you with pictures. Look what I saw over here.
I pull in people's driveways and ask if I can climb in a dumpster.
Right.
I found a pile of wood underneath the tarpon at a estate sale.
Yeah.
And one of the pieces of wood was an old packing crate.
Right.
From the old International Boiler Company at East Stroudsburg. And that inspired me to build a walled hanging bar.
That's amazing.
And accentuate that.
I mean, this to me is what people need to see, right? There's something uniquely special in that I love.
I never built the same thing twice either.
Right.
And I love that. I love being able to do that.
I mean, at the same time, if somebody comes here and sees your work, did they talk to you about something custom as well?
I do that all the time.
Okay.
But what I tell people is, and you might want to put this in too, is what they get is going to be close to what we talk about, but I let the projects take me. Like, that's my idea of a mantle clock.
I hear you, yeah. There's got to be a degree of freedom in your work.
I spent my formative years working in cabinet shops and stuff,
right,
learning the carpentry skills, but it was very restrictive because you're sticking to a plan all the time. It's measure, cut, nail, measure, cut, nail.
So someone with you is not going to get something built by instruction. It's going to be
Right, there's plenty of Raymore and Flanagan's out there.
Wholly unique.
Right.
Yeah, nobody else will have one of these.
No one else will, and it's never going to be even exactly what we discussed.
So tell me, what's it like being here at the Olde Engine Works?
I love this place.
Yeah.
I love the history here, the rigging and all being here. The people are great, and they know what they're doing.
Right.
They know the furniture. This is the kind of place that speaks to me. This is this is what the inside of my head looks like.
Those who don't know, you're not here all the time.
No.
So basically, you rely on the fact that the staff here is basically knows your products, knows what you do.
My products kind of speak for themselves.
Yeah.
I have cards out, and I have some signs saying that custom work is available with my phone number.
Yep.
All they have to do is contact me.
And of course, if somebody comes in and they're looking around and they have more questions, it's pretty typical. Staff will call you.
Absolutely.
Kind of stuff. Yeah.
Constantly. Or the people call me directly because we've got my number everywhere.
Cool. What should somebody know when they come to your work?
Unique.
Just that it's unique.
Yep.
Yeah.
And an expression of me.
John, thanks again.
My pleasure.
I really think what's unique about your work is that, as you swim through this massive space, there's all sorts of stuff from the past, period stuff.
Some beautiful stuff.
All sorts of unique items. But your stuff's a little bit different. I mean, you take it in a direction where these are pieces from the past, materials from the past, things that catch your eye, things that get put aside, and when the moment's right, you realize what it's meant to be, whether it's a bar or an end table.
See,
or...
I only have one correction for you, though.
Yeah.
I don't take these in a direction, they take me in a direction.
Got it.
Because I start out with a plan, and the projects speak to me, and one of the reasons that I send my partners pictures of the process as I'm doing it, because I never end up with exactly what I started out to do.
So I like the old Singer sewing machine that's now a desk, and it's beautiful. So you get the elements of what this was, or what it was used for in the past.
Right.
But in my mind, I mean, you could take this, put it in a wholly modern setting, a modern apartment, something like that. You throw a Mac laptop on it, and it totally works.
It works perfectly.
It works unbelievably. So it's a little bit different. I really like what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you for being an artist and a craftsman.
It's my passion.
I love it. It's what I love too. So uniquely what you do is really interesting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too.
You too. Thanks, Brandon.
Cool.
There's always something new at the Olde Engine Works.